Great, thank you so much. This is Alexa Byers, Global Trade Specialist with Business Oregon, and we're happy to join Ex-Im Bank on this opportunity today. What I'm not going to get into too much today are the various resources that our agency has available for companies dealing with the COVID crisis. We're going to focus on export, market development, and other services today. But if you go to our website, OregonForBiz.com, you'll see at the very front page a link to all kinds of resources that are available to businesses. I'm going to start kind of at a high level, 10,000 foot level here, and why export, and get into the details of our grant program. And Jessica and I are going to get into some of the non-travel related types of expenses that are covered in the grant program. So stick with us here. For Oregon, exporting is key to, it's really key to success, and really helps to support the job development in Oregon. 92,000 jobs here rely on exports. Our exporters pay better wages in general. We've got thousands of companies exporting already. We don't have 6,000 companies using export credit insurance yet, and we don't have 6,000 companies in our grant program at this time, but that's why we keep, we want to get the word out about what we've got to offer here. Most of the companies we work with are small, and most of the customers or end users of our products are not going to be in the United States. So, and getting out of the U.S. in terms of export markets is one way to help with a recession or some difficult times in the economy. And you know that these things happen. We were there in 2008. We're familiar with this, and it's a different kind of economic situation, but exports can really help level the playing field and help with business development. Most of the middle class in years to come is going to be coming out of Asia, and Oregon is positioned nicely here on the West Coast, and we've got logistics in place to help support those exports. I'm going to go over some of our key industries here, and these are going to mesh really well with Eric's presentation in terms of eligibility for the Ex-Im products. We do have a significant industry in microchips, and we actually took out the exports of microchips, and we still have 21% of our exports in the computer and electronics arena going overseas. A lot of machinery, transportation equipment. We have a lot of trucking parts here, thanks to Daimler Freightliner. Food and ag, a wide array of industries that we work with. And then country markets, again, we have a wide range of countries that we're exporting to. Canada, our neighbor to the north, is a huge customer of ours. China, even without the microchips, it's still a huge market, at least it was in 2019. Japan, Korea, Taiwan, of course, since we're on the West Coast, Asia is strong, and Europe is strong as well. I wanted to let you know about our team here. We have a lean and mean team of global trade specialists and other folks working in international trade. We also have some top-notch recruiters that are bringing international businesses to Oregon. So hopefully you know one of us. If not, take a screenshot, and we'd love to hear from you if you're an Oregon exporter in particular. We provide consulting services with companies. Usually we like to go out and visit you in person. These days we're doing a lot of conference calls and Zoom calls and everything but personal meetings, but we also are answering a lot of questions on trade. This is typically what we do off and on. We get questions about logistics and tariffs and how to get paid and what kind of certificate do you need for this market and how do you vet foreign buyers, all kinds of questions. We're mostly focusing today on export finance and market development, but we also do some export training workshops. Some of those we do on our own and some in concert with the Small Business Development Center and other partners. So we really do work with quite a few partners in export market development here in Oregon. On the export credit insurance side, we've been working with EXIM for a dozen years, and we became a partner with them. And City of Beaverton is also a partner with EXIM. We've grown the usage from, I think, a half a dozen companies to now, I think 20, 30 companies across Oregon are using it on a monthly basis. We already have this year $41 million in exports that have been supported by EXIM with the export credit insurance that they offer. And the list of companies is publicly available. Some small size companies like Oregon Soap and some food processors are using the insurance, all the way to companies in Eastern Oregon that are farming hay and exporting that around the world. Grass seed and wood products. There are all kinds of businesses utilizing export credit insurance. And you see the guy down there. He's having a hard time sleeping in the right-hand corner there. It's 2 in the morning. He shipped off an order to Argentina, and he's just got this angst about it. The country's having a bit of a turmoil, and he's not sure he's going to get that last payment from his customer. Don't be that guy. There are some options. So now we're going to turn the subject to the Export Promotion Program and our grants that we have available through Business Oregon. Most of our funding these days is coming from the Small Business Administration. In the last period, we awarded 276 grants to small businesses. The average per project was about $4,500 that we reimbursed for these companies. Most of them were going to international trade shows, so that's probably not going to be what's happening in the next year or so. So we expect that maybe going down a little bit. We used $1.6 million in funding, and that brought back $24 million in export sales, which was a huge return. The folks in the program used the funding here in the U.S. for international events. They went to a lot of events in Germany, Japan, China, and Canada, but all over the world, really. It's always interesting to see what businesses are doing, and the nice thing about it is participants choose their own markets. If they need help choosing those markets, we can do that. To be eligible, a company needs to be small. They need to not owe any taxes. They do need to have a presence here in Oregon and employ primarily Oregonians. They need to be promoting their own products or services, and they need to be export ready. If you're not sure if you're export ready or not, feel free to reach out to us and our partners, and we can help you get ready. Some of the parameters of the program. The grant will cover up to 50% of your expenses to a maximum of $10,000. So there were some companies in the program in recent years that spent $20,000 or more on an international event, and they were able to get that $10,000 back. And then they came in you can come in 3 times a year, so it could save you potentially up to $10,000. So it's very popular. We've got great participation. We have, I mentioned trade shows. We're going to get into that in a little while. Trade missions have been eligible. Market assessments and other services provided by the U.S. Commercial Service are eligible. Due diligence is apparently a service that's been picking up in interest, and that may be a situation where you can't physically go visit a potential customer right now, but you want to check them out and make sure they're viable. So the U.S. Commercial Service offers that program, and they can help you find out more about that company. The grant program also covers market research subscriptions, so something like Euromonitor or another one of your choice. Other expenses that are eligible include seminars, website translation work, something that's not for the U.S. market, but something that you're doing that will specifically target a foreign market. Shipping of samples to an event, export compliance testing, design of marketing, media, and then CE mark compliance fees are also eligible. If you don't know what a CE mark is, you probably don't need to worry about it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the trade shows and trade missions, because that's something that we're not going to probably be seeing a lot of in the near future. You know, and they're wonderful because you can meet people in person, you can test market your product, get some feedback, you can walk around and see your competitors and what they're doing. You have a chance to network, you know, for all during the day and into the evening with folks from all over the world, and in many cases you can learn about the culture. But now what? So we're hearing more and more about virtual trade shows. So this is a reality. Virtual trade shows are happening. They're popping up. Well, and there's some good things. You don't need to stand in a long, sweaty taxi line anymore. You don't need to go through security at the airport. You know, adjust to the new time zone. There are some benefits, but other benefits. You've got to target an audience. You get to present your products to a group that's interested in learning more about your company. You follow up. Yes, it is going to take some planning and preparation. We want to be a resource for you and help you, you know, and helping you to get ready for virtual trade shows. We're having some conversations about that now with our team. So do reach out to us about that. And if there is a cost to the virtual trade show, our grant is a resource for you. And I referenced an article that I thought was interesting in the New York Times here for your information. There are some upcoming events. These are a few that the U.S. Commercial Service is offering. If you do see a fee associated with the service, that's eligible for the grant. And on top of that, there are so many webinars, as you know. You're on one today. All kinds of subject matters that are interesting. So do take advantage of these events while you can. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and she's going to give you more information about the how-tos.
Sweet. Thanks, Alexa. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Sidesi. I am the Global Trade Team Assistant, as well as the STEP Grant Program Coordinator here at Business Oregon. And I'm just going to go over a couple of things about the application and reimbursement process for our STEP grant. So Just going to jump into it here. Where to apply? You can visit Business Oregon's website. It's oregonforbiz.com. Under the Global Connections tab, you're going to click on the Export Promotions Grants link, and that will take you to our Export Grant Program page. And it'll have all the details regarding the grant, like eligible expenses, list of supported activities, and things like that. When to apply? Grant funding is available year-round, so feel free to apply as soon as you decide to attend an event. But we do recommend submitting your app at least 2 months prior to the event, just to give time for application review, to answer any questions you may have, to sign and return your grant documents, just to make sure that we have all the bases covered before you leave for the event. So how to apply? So you're going to start by downloading the self-rep as eligible small business concern and debarment forms, also known as the SBA CERT forms. And this is basically just your verification that you are indeed a small business and eligible for the grant. The next step is creating an account or logging into your existing account if you already have one, and that's going to be on our application portal. And there you're going to complete your application. And it's a pretty quick app. It'll probably take you about maybe 15 to 20 minutes to complete. It'll just ask for basic company contact details, a bit of info about the event that you're attending, as well as your estimated amount for the expenses for the event. And once you're done submitting your app, or towards the end of it, you're going to be prompted to submit your SBA CERT form, so you don't want to forget that. And then you'll be able to submit your app, and you'll receive an automated email confirming your application submission, so be on the lookout for that. And how much does it cost? It's free, no fee, so we love free things, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so how to get reimbursed. So once your application is submitted, it's going to be reviewed and approved by your assigned global trade specialist. And you'll receive an email from me with next steps in the grant reimbursement process, along with your grant agreement document packet. And that will include your exhibits A and B. Exhibit A will be your performance report. On there, you're going to list your sales projections and just a few thoughts about the event that you attended. And your exhibit B, and that's going to be your expense report, where you'll list all of the expenses that you're submitting for reimbursement. On the performance report, just be sure to include your projected sales. I know sometimes it's a bit too early to tell what your sales will be within, just a few short weeks of the show, but as long as you can give an estimate of what they'll be, that'll work fine. We just want you to remember not to put, any NAs or not applicables. We do need a number on there, even if it is 0, just to process the paperwork. So keep that in mind. Once you have your exhibits A and B ready to go, you're going to attach all of your expense documentation for that event, and that'll be copies for like the trade show booth fee invoices, flight itineraries, hotel folios, along with their proofs of payments. And those will be submitted to the Portland office by mail or to me by email. And those will need to be turned in within 30 days of the final date of the event. Once your paperwork is received, it'll be reviewed by the global trade team here. It'll be processed by our finance team, and the reimbursement will be sent by USPS to the company address that was listed on the application. And it's usually about a 4-week turnaround time from when we receive your reimbursement paperwork to receive your payment. Helpful tips, always, when submitting your expenses for reimbursement, just Be sure to include the proof of payment. The more, supporting documentation we have on file, the faster the process will be. So keep that in mind. And just be sure to include hotel folios and travel itineraries for each attendee from your company. And also keep in mind that there's no need to keep track of meal receipts since those will be included in your per diem. So if you have any questions at all during the application process or just questions about the grant in general, just feel free to shoot me an email. It's jessica.stacy@oregon.gov. I'm going to send it back to Alexa now.
All right, thank you. So by now, you may be wondering what it's all about. Trying to move to the next slide. Maybe you can move, there we go. So what is this all about? Why do we want you to export? Really goes back to the beginning. Exports can bring sales to your company. They can bring good wages to the state, all kinds of good things. So we will be asking for sales, because that's really what we want at the end of the day. We'll give you a grant, and we hope that down the road, it may not be immediately, maybe it may take even 6 months, a year, sometimes 2 years before these sales become a reality, but we will be checking in with you about your export sales. And I really do like Dionne Warwick, she's awesome. So we have had lots of success stories. So these are just a few examples. Overwatch Imaging is a new company to the program. They're out of Hood River. They went down under to Australia to a show called Avalon, and they came back with some nice business and a great return on investment. Another company based in Portland here has had quite a bit of success in Asia in particular with their firefighting equipment. And in fact, they were bought out by another company called DART, so they're doing quite well. And got one more here. I always like to finish with dessert. So Sealy Mint is another example of an Oregon exporter that's done well with the program. They're a vertically integrated business where they actually grow their mint on the farm, and the wife's name is Candy. She's actually the candy maker, which I find wonderful, and it's a wonderful product, by the way. But they're exporting to Canada. We've helped them out with a few grants, and it's great to see them successful. So with that, thank you for listening. Thanks for coming, and we'll open it up to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Jessica and Alexa. I definitely appreciate everything. Now, we'd like to open it up for questions for myself as well as Jessica and Alexa. You can either type them in the chat box and we'll respond accordingly to who the question is addressed to. While we're waiting on those questions to come in, I'd like to take this opportunity to basically thank everybody for attending today, and make sure you stay safe, as long as, wish you well with your family also. So as we wait for these questions, I realize some people might actually be signed on through the phone only. So what I'll ask is our technical assistant IT here at Ex-Im Bank, James Fletcher. James, could you release the actual audio to everyone? And what I ask is, when you do ask a question, if you could state your name and who the question is addressed to. No questions? Any comments?
give me just a second, Eric. So I am going to unmute all participants.
Okay.
You should be, I recommend, when you are unmuted, I would recommend speaking one at a time and muting yourself when you're not speaking. All right, so I will do that.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry for calling audible, but I just thought everybody might be signed in with their phones as well.
Okay. So in addition to that, we do have some text questions. If you want me to start reading those off for you.
All right. We can start with the text questions.
Sure. Out of the this one is from Brian McDowell. Out of the 1% of companies that export, do we know what percentage of defense is defense and commercial aerospace related?
I'll take that one. Now, from an XM's perspective, since we don't do any military contracts, I wouldn't have access to that information. That's something that would basically be with the Department of Commerce. But if you contact me offline, I can put you in contact with somebody to give you more specific information in regards to that.
Okay, the next question we have is from Jessica Mueller. Great information so far. Will we be receiving a list of all those on this webinar? Would love to connect further.
Jessica, if you can contact me actually offline, I can see what we can do to make that available.
Okay, so then next question is from James Jenkins. Can we get a copy of the presentation?
Yes, a copy of the presentation will be available to all attendees.
Okay, Neil Plunkett also has asked that question as well. And then I also have a question, what are some indicators of an export-ready business?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sorry, what are some indicators of an export-ready business?
Jessica, I'll let you take that one.
I can.
Jessica or Alexa. Jessica or Alexa.
Yeah. So an export-ready company would have product available to export, possibly a surplus of product to be able to fulfill an order. Doesn't necessarily need to be a huge order, but you may want to think about whether you can fill an order of a pallet or half a container load of product to help a distributor. Most likely you're exporting, it's going to be a business to business export, and you want to make sure that your distributor or partner on the other end of the equation has enough product. You want to have your pricing ready. You want to have an export plan in place, ideally. You may want to think about having a marketing plan with your foreign partner on how you're going to continue to move product through the market. Normally, we would say you want to make sure that you have some resources to visit the country. That's not inexpensive, and maybe you're off the hook for the short term here on needing to travel. So those are some considerations, and there are more, and there are also some quizzes you can take and some other some programs that you can take to get ready to export that we can help you with.
Okay, next question we have is from Kareem Lankonande. I apologize if I pronounce Kareem Lank. So, do you have any partnerships with DFC, parentheses, example, OPIC, to help finance U.S. exporters?
The DFC?
Yes, do you have any partnership with DFC to help finance U.S. exporters?
I'm not familiar with that, but with that particular DFC acronym. But in terms of help finance exporters, I guess my question would be, are you looking for access to capital? And if it's access to capital, one of the things I would definitely look at is, as Alexa was talking about, is actually grants that might be available from the state of Oregon. What I must say in terms of having export assistance available, all 50 states and U.S. territories aren't created the same. Some states do have a large amount of available resources to help exporters, and Oregon is one of them with the grants and the agencies such as Business Oregon. So it's a good opportunity if you're looking for capital from that particular standpoint. Work with them from a counseling standpoint. They have access to what's available within the state and also know the federal resources in regards to access to capital.
Okay, so I also missed a question from Isaac Mayosor. Does XM have any programs to help brokers?
We do. In terms of helping brokers, we do have an opportunity. If you'd like to become an XM broker, I can put you in contact with our director of broker relations, Mr. Ed Coppola, and he can see if it's something you might be interested in.
All right. Let's see. We also have a question from Shams Khan. For a USA company who is not a manufacturer itself, but buys from USA manufacturers and exports to foreign buyers, are these grants accessible?
Hi, this is Alexa. Yeah, it can be an eligible situation, definitely. So the main thing is that you don't want to fund two companies that are competing with each other and stepping on each other's toes in the same country market. So definitely speak with your trade specialist about that.
Okay, and that is all the questions we have at this time.
Okay. Would there be any verbal questions?
Let's see. I don't see anyone indicating that they want to do a verbal question right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And I also like to thank James on behalf of XM Bank for helping us out with this. Our IT department has been doing a fantastic job since most of the business outreach that comes from organizations such as XM Bank is run through our IT department. So James, thank you.
I'm glad I was able to help out.
If there's no other comments or questions at this particular point, I guess we can close the webinar. What we'll do is have the webinar available within about a 48-hour time period. And for those who have additional questions, once you receive that information, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Alexa, or Jessica with some information. And Jessica, I'll let you kind of take it from there. Any closing comment, Jessica?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay, Alexa?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and we look forward to hearing from those of you interested in more.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time. We'll give you roughly about 7 minutes back to your day. Everybody be safe and take care of yourself. And let's export.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.